Hey solos, I have another solo story for you, and it's wonderful for Pride Month, but it is not only for Pride Month. Hi everyone, it's Samantha. Olaf may not know who Samantha is, but now you do, and welcome to Disney Solo Magic, the #1 podcast for solo travel to Disney World, now in its second year. So June is the month of solo stories. There is just going to be solo story after solo story after solo story, and they're also interesting and unique and provide different perspectives on different types of Disney travel. And we're staying in Disney World for this one, although solo spoiler, the next two are not going to be for Disney World. But it is going to be world focused. Anyway, there you go. But this one is still focused on Disney World, and it is with Mikki, also known as My Life in Mini Ears. It was so wonderful to connect with Mikki. She is a trans woman. She is a cancer survivor. She does not work for Disney, but she works for Disney's competitor and still has an office just like full of Disney stuff. We just had a really, really fun time talking about her Disney collection, her journey to getting to Florida and becoming like a Disney adult on the regular, and things like what it's like in terms of safety to be in the parks as a trans woman. But what's really awesome about this conversation is that it's not just about being your best solo self if you are a trans woman or a trans person, but rather just about the experiences of being at Disney and living your best life just generally. The tips that she has about like meeting characters and all of that stuff, it's just so wonderful. And although, like I said, it's not specifically for Pride Month, it is wonderful that I get to share this story during Pride Month. Now, of course, you can follow Mikki in all of her adventures on her social media platforms, and they are all linked below, as well as mine, Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. And you can listen to this on Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube. And can I just say something about YouTube? Like, look, I have no problem with a nice slow burn in terms of like subscriber count on Instagram. Every time I see someone like becoming an Instagram follower, I'm just like, hey, it's so nice for you to come. Like, thanks so much. But there is something about the super low number on YouTube that like really bothers me. Like, nowhere else am I bothered. Nowhere else. Like, when I started the podcast, I did not even look at listener count numbers for like 6 to 9 months because I was like, it's not important. Let's just create fun content and then we'll see what's happening. But there's something about those YouTube numbers, those YouTube subscriber numbers that just bug me so much. So solos. Please go on YouTube and subscribe. Right now it's at 50, which, hey, look, I really appreciate how that number has grown from like 30. Well, I guess it's also just grown from 0, but I appreciated that you have helped that number almost double from when I first started asking for people. But right now it's at 50, and I would really love to see that number double. So when that number gets to 100, so if that number gets to 100, like at the end of this month, at the end of July, at the end of August, when that number doubles, I will do a podcast that's just a video, and I'll post that on Instagram. So anyway, please help me get that number up. But if you do want to see my little face and Mikki's little face having a really fun conversation, especially because she gives us a tour of her like mini ears that are on the wall behind her when she's talking, then make sure you join me on Patreon. Patreon is $4 American a month to be able to join. That's nothing, y'all. That's $1 a week, or it's about $5 Canadian. So that's like $1.25 a week. You get reflections on every single episode, which is essentially like they've been pretty long. So they've been kind of like these mini episodes related to each episode. And for all the solo stories, you get to watch us talking, which is, I think, a little bit more fun. And although I try not to cut too much out of the solo story conversations, you can see the conversation completely unedited when you watch it on Patreon. So please join us. You'll also get the opportunity to vote on upcoming episodes, and you'll get to see the breakdown of things that are coming up. So right now, the voting voting question is on DVC. Do you want a episode related to being a DVC, a Disney Vacation Club member, as a solo? As I had wrote on Patreon, I've done the math a few times and it just doesn't seem to make any sense for a solo. But do you want me to talk to somebody who is a DVC member as a solo and have them like share their experiences? So please come and vote on that. Also with Patreon, there's a 7-day free trial. So if you just want to come on and watch my conversation with Mikki, by all means do so. And one more thing before we get into the episode. I have something very big that's coming up and I cannot wait to share it with you. I wish I could say more, but I can't right now. But I cannot wait for you to be able to see this. I can't even, yeah. So in a couple weeks, I'll be doing an interview with somebody, ... I'm very excited about. I don't know if I'll be able to use the video. I don't know if they'll let me use the video when I interview them, but I'm going to see what I can do for us Patreon members. And yeah, it's really big. I'm really excited, and I just feel like it's going to be such a wonderful, wonderful conversation for all of you listening. And thank you for coming to the Disney Solo Magic podcast, etc., etc. All right, that is enough preamble. Let's get into it. Hello, Mikki. It's so wonderful to meet you. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. Welcome to Disney Solo Magic.
Thank you. So glad to be here with you today.
I love these solo stories because I get to talk with so many different people about their experiences going solo. And what's so interesting is that they're always like so different, but then so the same. And it just like warms my heart, this solo magic community. And I'm so glad that you're now a part of it.
Well, I'm glad to be part of it too. It's been a long solo journey for me. My journey goes back quite a while as far as why I've gone to Disney by myself.
Well, I love that. Can you introduce yourself before we like get into that?
Sure. So I'm Mikki. You may know me on social media as My Life in Many Ears. I am a just short of 50-year-old transgender woman who lives in Florida and visits the parks nearly 50 days out of the year every calendar year. So if you are bouncing around the parks, you have a decent chance of bouncing into me.
You know, it's always lovely and heartbreaking to talk with Floridians because you can say that. And I am like, oh, maybe one day I'll be back, maybe in a couple months. Also, the Floridians, you get to practice your experiences in the summer Florida weather. We
Yes,
don't.
yes. Being a summer birthday baby, I go to Disney every year for my birthday, which means that I have to go through 90 plus to 100-degree plus temperatures for a week every year in the summer for a week straight, which makes for a lovely time and also makes for a great set of thunderstorms some
Yeah,
years and
always, always. So
ruins outfits quickly.
yes, it does. It does. So my birthday is a month after yours. I'm the end of August. And so when I've been there for my birthday the last couple of years, I've done the Halloween party too. So I get the like, is it fall? Is it summer? Like, at least you can keep your birthday separate from fall.
Not so much.
Oh
Two
no.
years ago, 2 years ago, Disney World moved up the Halloween party significantly. And they've moved them back just a little bit as of
Mm.
last year and this year, but they really moved them up 2 years ago. And on my birthday, I walked into Magic Kingdom and they had the pumpkins out and the scarecrows out and they were already decorating. I'm like, it's July 31st. You have to wait till after my birthday before you put up this stuff. No, you did not consult me. Where was my call? Where was my Josh tomorrow? Why did you not call me? Why did we not have a conversation?
Well, I feel the same about Halloween in August, but also just like kids going back to school. Like we lived in Florida for a couple of years when I was growing up, and they were like, "No, school starts like August 15th." I'm like, "No, school starts after my birthday, after Labor Day, obviously." And so it's still it's so weird.
Not in, not in the States. Most most US states now are starting school sometime in August.
Yeah, weird.
Um,
Okay, so can you like tell me about you and your Disney journey?
sure. I was blessed that my parents were able to take us when I was growing up. So my first Disney experience is 1989. We attended two parks. We attended Magic Kingdom, and that was the year that, at the time, Disney's MGM
MGM
Studios
Studios.
opened up. And I was there for the first year of MGM Studios opening up. But I can still remember walking around the corner, as you come down Main Street, USA, and you make that corner past the confectionery and you see Cinderella Castle, and I just fell in love. I was already a Disney addict as it was. I was watching all the Disney movies on VHS, running them ragged at home all the time. And to have been able to get there and see the park for the first time, just it did something to me. And I started, so we went again 4 years later when I got to choose the destination for our summer vacation that year. I was like, we are going to Disney. We have to go back. Um,
And did you
and
grow
then
up in Florida?
No, I grew up in Northwest Ohio.
Okay. So it was
So
like a
I
big
grew,
trip.
so yeah, it was our big trip. My grandparents had a place in Naples, Florida. So we would usually come down, go to Naples, which is about 3 hours away from Disney World. And then we drive up and spend a few days, but I'm the oldest of four. We did not stay on property. We did not even stay like really close to property. A lot of times we were getting a villa in the area. We would go to the parks. My mom would cook meals at the villa for us and things like that. So we were packing food, taking it into the parks. You were not getting souvenirs. You were not getting all these extra things that I do now. Like it's crazy. Adult Disney adults are honestly just Disney kids with adult money, and now we can buy all the stuff.
A
So
hundred
that's why I
percent.
have like my ear collection and my Loungefly collection and my art collection and all the things.
So, just a reminder for those of you listening to this conversation, you can watch our conversation on Patreon because Mikki has this gorgeous collection of mini ears behind her. But then she said that's not even all of them. And she's also showed me her Loungefly collection on the other wall. Like, it is very impressive.
And that you can't even see them all. I have to have some of them stacked behind each other at this point
Do you have
because
a
I don't have
favorite?
enough space.
Do you have a favorite?
So I have my first. For the Loungeflies, my very first Loungefly, because I swore I wasn't going to get into them, was the first ever Loungefly that you could put your ears into them, where they had the little holder for them. So
Because it's
the
practical.
backpack, yeah, and the backpack itself was all mini ears. The whole design of it is the print on it is all mini ears. So that was the first one. And that was my gateway drug. Like that just opened up the floodgates. And the next thing I knew, I was buying Loungefly after Loungefly. I need them to match ears. I need them to match outfits. I got to coordinate with things because I Disney bound. I do Dapper Day. I do all the events with Disney. Well, that means I have to have outfits for everything.
100%.
And the next thing you know, you're sitting here with, actually, I think now with the newest one, I might be close to 30. I might have got near 30 Loungeflies now. And I know I'm over 100 pairs of mini ears at this point. The ones on the wall behind me, 90% of the time don't ever come off the wall. There's only a couple that come off that wall. Like there is a pair that's, I know I'm pointing at it, nobody can see it unless you're watching the video, but
But
like
that's why you
right
need to join the
behind me
Patreon.
to the right is my original Ariel ears. It's the ones that even say mermaid hair don't care on the side of the
Oh, yeah,
band.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The one that's like
I will be
right above you. Not like the
yep,
one yeah.
I will be taking those off the wall tomorrow because I am going to see Jody Benson do a Q&A before the film of Little Mermaid at Disney Springs.
That's so exciting and a perfect reason to wear those ears.
Oh yeah, I had to put together a whole, Ariel outfit for this. So we pulled together a whole look just for the day.
I love it. And of course, I'll be posting this after that event. But if you go on Instagram, I'll make sure that I'll repost those things in the story so people can find them. I also noticed that you have a haunted mansion pair of ears, which I saw in one of your like videos that you've done. And I was like, those are so interesting and so unique. And I haven't seen them anywhere else. So yeah, there you go. You have a nice little archive.
Yes, yes. I am so sad that when those came out, I did not buy the matching dress. They had at which the Disney dress shop, they had
Yep.
that whole outfit that you could pick up. And I did not acquire it. And now I kick myself all the time for not having bought that dress. Kind of like when I bought my first pair of ears. My first pair of ears was the purple potion ears, which are also on the wall back there. And I didn't buy the backpack and matching spirit jersey. And that is one of those things that haunts me to this day. But they were my first ears. They hold a very special place in my heart because of why I bought them and everything.
Like life is full of regrets. And I just feel
Oh
like the
yes.
more we work through our regrets about shopping or not shopping, the more we just realize we need to purchase the things we want. I know
A
that I'll
lot of
come back
times.
from a
And
Disney trip and I'll be like I'll be on the Disney trip and I was like, Samantha, don't buy too much, like whatever. And then I'll come back home and I'm like, where are all my souvenirs? I don't even have enough. So I just figure like no one needs
see,
regrets about not buying things. That
but
that's such bad advice.
it's true, but that's also why I have not relocated closer. Like I live 2 hours, 32 minutes from my doors to the gate of Magic Kingdom. Not that anybody's ever counted, because I've never done such a crazy thing as
Obviously.
that. Um, but I still live this far away because I don't buy everything. And I fear that if I lived in the direct Orlando area, the amount of merch that I would buy would get ridiculous because I have a weakness for it. I love a lot of it. I want to put outfits around it. I have two pairs of ears right now that still have tags on them because I've yet to wear the outfits for them. And it's frustrating me, but at the same time, it's like, no, I wanted those. But the purple potion, yeah, definitely 2018 purple potion. I bought those on a trip with my mom. I took her to Disney Springs. That was the first pair. I was like, I want these. I've wanted mini ears for such a long time in my life. And I was always told, no, those are not for boys. Those are only for girls. Mini ears don't belong to. I'm like, no, but I want them. And so I did buy those and talked myself out of the other pieces. And I can remember a few months later, I bought like three more pairs by then. By the time we get around, at least definitely by a year later, I bought three more pairs. I'm getting ready to move to Florida. And my mom asked me what I consider now the most ridiculously silly question you could ever ask me in my life, which is, why do you always buy mini ears and wear mini ears? Why don't you ever get Mickey ears? And I said, they are shiny, glittery, sparkly, and they are really pretty. I had not come out yet to my mom, and she still couldn't figure this out.
She's like, huh.
Yeah, she quickly changed the subject.
Right.
We won't go further down that road because it's not a pretty subject with my parents.
Oh, but it's amazing that like I love the story of you buying them there with her too, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, that's great. That's great.
like, these are mine. These are
Yeah.
mine.
Okay, so your Disney journey can be summed up as you were a Disney kid that now has adult money and you purposely live 2 hours and 32 minutes away. So you don't spend up too much of that
So I
adult
don't spend too
money.
much.
I, I,
Yeah,
I think that story sums up very well in a nutshell. Can you talk about your experiences going solo?
going solo for me was a very interesting kind of, I guess, metamorphosis because I'd always gone with partners, gone with family, even taken my daughter multiple times. But the year that we opened Happily Ever After, I was at the time still living up north in Indianapolis at that point, but I was traveling heavily for work. And as I was traveling more and more for work, I started becoming comfortable doing things on my own. because I was always someone who never felt comfortable like going to even a movie by myself or going to a restaurant by myself. But as I started traveling for work all the time, I was like, well, you kind of got to. You have to go places by yourself. And I was in Charleston, South Carolina, and I knew we were closing Wishes and opening Happily Ever After the very next night, right? Right? They were back to back.
I love how
And
you say
my part
we. Were you part of the tech team?
I when I say we, I always say we because I think of myself as being part of
I
Disney.
know. I love it.
It's
I love it.
they
I
force some
inter
habit with me, and
I
yeah,
interviewed someone about Disneyland and she just kept saying like, "What do you guys have over there?" And so I would answer, but I'm also like I'm also in Toronto, like a 3 hour flight away, but like
yeah,
I can be you guys over there.
exactly. You're an East Coaster, so
Yeah,
you're
I'm
a
an
part of
East
the Disney
Coaster, that's
World
right.
fam. So yeah, you're totally part of our family. But I
Okay,
was up in
so wishes
Charleston.
happily ever after. We
Yeah,
are setting it up.
yeah. So I'm sitting there in Charleston, and my partner at the time goes, "Well, don't you have that night off, the night that they're premiering Happily Ever After?" So yeah, why don't you go? It's 6 hour drive. Well, you have 2 days off. You have that day and the next day off, so you can drive down, do it, drive back. Not a big deal. You're right. I'm going to try this. So I drove 6 hours, checked into my hotel, went to Magic Kingdom, spent only 5, 6 hours. Well, no, maybe 7 hours total in Magic Kingdom that night. Watched Happily Ever After, bawled like a baby at it. First time watching it, it moved me more than Wishes ever had. And then went back, slept in the hotel that night, got back in the car, drove 6 hours back to Charleston. And that was my first ever Disney solo trip. And
Did you stay
because
at a
of
Disney
that,
hotel?
yes, I did. I stayed at the All Star. I stayed at one of
Oh,
the
okay.
All Star resorts. I don't remember which one, but it was
But I'm like thinking of you doing this like day and a half trip, right? And thinking like because it's a little outside of what you were expecting. So I can think of you being like, oh, I won't stay on property. Oh, I'll just like stay. Oh, I'll do it really quickly. So I love that I'm wrong and that you're like, no, okay, let's
no,
stay.
because
Let's stay on property.
at that moment in time, my mentality was that if I'm going to Disney, I'm staying on property. I don't have that mentality anymore. I stay off property often because I still do many overnights that
Right,
even though
right.
I live this close. So I'm 50-50 on property, off property nowadays. But my mentality then was you have to stay on property because you got to use their transportation, you got to do the things. And especially with a fireworks show, you're not going to get out till late and then getting back to the TTC and then it's just such an effort. It's not worth it to me. And I did it. And I gotta tell you though, Happily Ever After, still to this day, my favorite show. But I was there for opening night. I was there for the last night before we started Enchantment. I was there for the night it reopened after Enchantment. I have been to every open and close officially for that show, except for the COVID close because we didn't know that that was an official close.
Right, right. Well, I love that. I love that that's like a nice little marker, like a symbolic marker of your solo journey to Disney. So when you got back to Charleston, were you like, oh, when am I going to do that again? Or did it not
Oh,
occur to you until like something else happened that you thought, oh, we'll be good to go?
the first thought was, okay, I need to get back to Disney even more rapid than I was. To that point in my life, I was doing Disney probably once every 2 years, but I had just become a pass holder that March. I just became a DVC member that March. So it would have been 2017 because that's when I bought in. So 2017 is when we started Happily Ever After. So I just became a pass holder, and I was out of state pass holder, out of state DVC member. And I'm like, all right, I need to go. And like that was the flip of my switch for me. And I went from now every 2 years to I was there every 6 months to then it became every 4 months. And by 2019, I had relocated to Florida and now I'm there at least once a month. And if I'm not there once a month, somebody should come check on me and do a wellness check because I might not be healthy. Because I
Um,
went during chemo when I was a cancer patient, I was going during chemo.
I mean, it's a lot depending on your how your body is reacting to the chemotherapy, but like also yes. 100%.
I had my doctor sign off on it being part of treatment. Like I literally negotiated with my doctor that, they were like, you need things that are going to help you feel good to help keep your spirits up to fight, this battle as you're going through a cancer battle. And so we plotted it out on the calendar and said, okay, you go in for treatment on this day. We remove your chemo pump on this day. You can go on this day. That's the last best day that you'll be the healthiest before we start the next treatment. So literally I'd go on a Sunday, come back, have Monday, and then Tuesday I'd be back in, put in a pump on an every 2 week rotation.
And did you get a scooter?
No,
No? Look at you.
no, this is not a brag. This is me being stupid. I'll be honest. This is me being dumb. I didn't realize that at that time, having been a cancer patient at the time, being a diabetic at the time, with all the different things that had piled up on me, that I would have qualified for DAS under the old DAS program.
Yep.
I could have, rented the scooter. I could have done all the things, but no, I was walking around those parks and halfway through my not so scary party, it was maybe 9:30. And I started going, I don't know if I'm going to make it through the night. This was silly. I should never have come to this party. You are working to kill yourself right now by trying to be here to do this. And then I quickly said, no, if you're going to die, you're going to die happy at Disney. And there's nothing wrong with enjoying your life. Just stop trying to run from thing to thing. Just
Right. Take care of yourself.
Just take your time and do only a couple things tonight. So like I saw a couple characters, did a couple treat trails, watched the fireworks, watched the stage show, and then left after the second parade.
Right.
But I still had then the majority of the night because I was like,
Well,
stop.
like being there is better than not being there. So being there
Yes.
but doing fewer things is better than not being there. And like dying at Disney is not the worst place to go.
Definitely not. But for me, it was 2019, and I had just moved to Florida early that summer, and here it is. It's like October, and I'm still fighting my own mentality of I live in Florida now. I could go as much as I want. So I've had to change my entire approach to Disney since moving here and going solo so often. The whole way I approach Disney is so different versus when I took partners, versus when I took my daughter, versus when I go with friends, because I'll still go with friends or meet up with friends at the parks. And if I go with friends who don't go often, I make the day about them.
Right.
But when I'm there now by myself, I have days where I'll pop down there and only be in the park for 6 hours, and all I'll have done is meet three characters, have some hot dogs from Casey's Corner, and watch a stage show and be like, oh, I should probably get home because traffic's going to be bad, and I'm out even before fireworks.
So what
Other
is
days,
something that you do solo that you wouldn't or couldn't do with other people? So one thing I'm hearing from you is like just kind of chill sometimes, right? Like prioritize
for
the
sure.
characters or the food that you want to eat and just kind of chill. But are there other particular things that you really like when you say, "Oh, I want to do a solo trip," it's because like I want to get this particular thing from the trip. Does that make sense? I don't mean thing as in merchandise, but maybe merchandise.
Well, there definitely have been trips that were 100% merchandise centered where I was going because a merch drop happened and this new pair of ears came out. Um, like when we did the mini does Disney collection, that was the 2020 collection leading into the anniversary. The first pair of ears was the only pair of ears that actually dropped in the park that I wanted, which was the Spaceship Earth ears. I went down the date that they released because I wanted those ears. There was no way I wasn't going to get those ears. This was going to happen. End of story kind of thing. But a lot of my things that I do more by myself than I do when I'm with other people is characters. I will spend way more time with characters by myself than with others, depending on the group. I mean, I have certain groups, which is so great with social media. I've grown a whole new family of people down here, especially that love Disney, that sometimes it's planned, sometimes it's just you run into each other at the parks, and some of them are really big, like me, where they love the character interactions and they have fun with it. Versus with taking family and friends in the past, a lot of those people are like, I don't know how to talk to a character. I'm like, it's not hard. You just have a conversation with the character. But it's Mickey. He can't talk back. Who cares? You learn how to pantomime with Mickey. It's not that hard.
And
I
also,
can,
like, there's no way you're going to bomb at talking to these characters. Like,
yeah.
their whole job is to make you welcome and entertain
Oh,
this communication.
I have had so much fun with characters, especially as I got more and more out of my head. As I moved into a better place of feeling comfortable being me, I've now gone in full outfits where I'm dressed up as a witch and then had a conversation with Tiana. And I'm telling her how I have some friends on the other side that she might know. And I had some interesting conversations with the Shadow Man. And the give and take with the character when you not only know their story, but you can role play with them in the story. Oh, they get into it so much. They have so much fun with it. And you get such a different interaction. But even just recently on Dapper Weekend here in the spring, I did Mickey, Goofy, and Minnie at Epcot because I was at Epcot Dapper Day. That interaction with Minnie was probably my best non-face character interaction I've had in the longest time. She was everything about my dress, about my outfit, about my clothing. She saw my tattoo. I have a mini tattoo on my forearm
It's great.
with the transgender flag is the bow, and the rest of the pride colors is the rest of the flowers around it. And she was, so she motions to things. I know what I can pantomime with the character, so I know what they're referring to. And she just gave me the longest, deepest hug that I've had from a character. And like I was ready to let go. She wasn't like I was like, I just it was so heartwarming and felt so good because it wasn't because I was recanting a story about how they got me through cancer or how XYZ happened. It was just literally having this interaction, and this character actor just had so much fun with me and then just gave me the biggest, longest, warmest hug at the end of it. And I'm just like, I melted. I just felt so good. And that's why I go to Disney. It's those little magic moments like that are why so many of us enjoy Disney.
I love that so much because that first reel I saw of yours, when it showed you interacting with the characters and like twirling around in these dresses, they were just, it was so joyful. And I love that you said, like, once I got out of my head, because I think there are so many people that are like, yeah, like, I don't know what to do, characters, like, blah, 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 blah. But, the interactions have been so great in so many different stories for so many different
Mhm.
reasons. And I bumped into this woman at my nail salon. I've told this story a couple times. And she said that she worked at Disney. And long story short, she was friends with Mickey Mouse and Minnie
Mhm.
Mouse. And so I said to her, like, so what is it like when there are adults there? Like, what is it like having an adult there wanting to hug you? And like, what is that like? And she's like, it's really great because they know that you're not like real, but that's why they're there. And so there is this extra bit of energy and magic that comes with that interaction that is
Yeah.
really, really special for us as well as the guest. Because like kids, like you're in the fantasy, but like when you are co-creating that fantasy with the guest, it is so, so magical about what they're there. And it was just really beautiful to hear that because I think, I've talked about this on the podcast. I know a lot of people, especially when they're going solo, think, that's not really for me. And I love your story. And I love the other stories too about like, yeah, you can have these really fun experiences that can be like really, really meaningful, even
Yeah.
when you aren't expecting it to be, right? Like you said, in like sharing a particular story, like it can just be meaningful and wonderful because you're you.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. So do you have a favorite meet and greet then? Or even like a favorite meet and greet place?
That's really hard for me to narrow down because I've had so many amazing character interactions dependent on when it was in my life
Mm,
and dependent on outfits I'm wearing. Like
right. Obviously.
I was Disney bounding as Leia last October, and not only did the cast members beyond the character, the attendants go out of their way to make this like I'm walking through Batu in my Leia bound, the ears, the whole thing. I got the Leia ears, I got the whole thing, right? And I walk up into the area where Kylo comes out on, out of his ship and he does the thing. And right as the show is about to start with Kylo. And the roaming lieutenant originally, right, that walks through and she saw me and she's like, oh, another one of you in the white outfits. You're all here to see Kylo. You think you can save him or something, whatever. And she just walks away. So I just plot myself in the middle of the big audience, not expecting anything of it. And a little while later, a cast member comes walking over to me and she looks over at me and she goes, are you here to see your son? I said, I would love to see Ben today. She goes, all right, you stay right here with me. I'm going to stand right here next to you and we will make something happen for you. And as the whole stage show finishes and Kylo ends up walking past us and goes off stage completely. And she looked at me and she goes, that was not supposed to happen. Come with me. Took me over to just before the backstage area. Goes, just wait here for a minute. She goes backstage, comes back, goes, I'm going to stand right here again next to you. We have to wait 3 minutes. And Kylo walks out, flanked by two stormtroopers, and walks directly to me. And the only thing that I feel so bad about at this point is that I wish I had given the attendant my camera to record it. So she could have had me plus him. So I just have him in frame and I'm just standing there going, Ben, I can sense the light in you, but you should come back. You know you belong with us and just role playing the character. And obviously Kylo can't interact with you quite the same way that other face characters can because it's preset recordings. But he was so good with he would hit the right recordings at the right time and played along with everything. And we took photos with me and him and the stormtroopers. And that was one of my favorites. That whole trip though, I did Chewbacca with me dressed as Leia and Chewie had a ball with it. Chewie was so thrilled to see me in that outfit. So, um,
That's so fun. That's so special. That's so special.
yeah. Between that and then probably the one that you're referring to with Goofy, who just made my day with that Pride outfit. That was last June for Pride, twirling me around and dancing with me, and just that was an experience. And that to have that now recorded, and it's one of my favorite clips to be able to drop into different reels and things
Yeah.
because it was just real, and I did not expect him to twirl me and stuff, and just we did it in the moment. And I always go, my daughter should be proud of me at that point because she did ballet for 14, 15, 16 years. And I can't dance to save my life, but God, I pulled off that twirl really good with properly pointed toes and everything.
It helps when you have a good dress for it.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So, what's a tip you would give to other solo travelers? Like, I think one tip is to go see the characters. And also, maybe I would kind of intuit, like, dress up too, like, to really kind of enjoy that part of being able to do that at Disney. Do you have some other tips for solo travelers?
I mean, obviously, yes, do characters if you can, if you feel comfortable with it. Dress up. You don't have to dress up to the level I do. You do not have to go in 90-degree heat in a full dress with a petticoat and everything like I do at times. But the other thing I'd say is take the time if you are a solo traveler to even go to some of the quiet spaces in the park. Like go to the gardens in Japan in Epcot and just listen to the little waterfalls and the water thing back there and just look at all the other people going by, um, and be willing to talk to others. I have so many conversations with so many random people in the parks. One, dressed the way I am, I usually look very approachable. When you're dressed up in Disney bound outfits with your ears and all the things, and you're definitely looking like you're part of the show, people will want to just talk to you randomly anyway.
Okay,
But
so can I just say something to that? Okay, that's one of my
yeah,
pet peeves actually, because I agree. I agree, but I have talked to people who have Disney bounded, or like I see people who are Disney bounding and they look miserable. I'm
well,
just like,
there is the benefit of
there was this
me.
mother and daughter, and like they were like grown adults, and I was like, if you're going to put that much effort into your outfits, your custom made Disney bounding outfits, you should expect people are going to talk to you.
Yes, yes,
I was so
I love it.
surprised. Like they were like, "Bleh, bleh, bleh." I don't know why
I
I'm telling
have
you that story because I think you just unlocked a big pet peeve of mine. But I agree with you. I love talking to people in the parks, and I do think that there are certain ways that you signal that you
yeah,
are friendly and approachable to talk to. Disney bounding is one of them, but I guess we've just learned a pet peeve of mine.
yeah, no, I agree because like if I'm at Disney, it is very rare you're gonna see me with a frown or looking like something's not going right. Now, have there been a few times? Sure. Was I not so smart wearing 4-inch heels and a Jessica Rabbit dress and walking around the main area of Hollywood Studios to get parked photos in that old, the old timey looking stuff? And yeah, by the
Maybe.
end of that period, that was a long walk to just get to bus station number 4.
Yes.
But we did it. Or like when I've done some of my Star Wars bounds. Now, sometimes with the Star Wars bound, I do have a dark side bound, and that one people don't always want to approach me in that one. I'm in red and black with a cape up with a hood up over me and a lightsaber walking around. And so sometimes that one isn't the most approachable look. But I usually still get approached. I still usually get people that go, "That's so cool," or "Where'd you get that lightsaber?" Or "Wait, you have a pink lightsaber?" And then I have to tell them about my character that I created and why do I have a pink lightsaber? And
Yeah, I mean, that's fun. I mean, that's fun
oh,
because like I think like Disney just feels like a community. Like I was talking with somebody else and she's like, "Oh, well, when I go alone, like you're never really alone. You have all these
no,
people. It's up to you how much you want to talk with people really, but like you're not alone if you're there." And there I talk about safety a lot on this podcast, and maybe you can talk about your
hmm,
experience about safety as a trans woman, but like they're the flags that I get in my brain as a woman walking through the world for just like safety things like never come up in my brain at Disney. And there's
yeah,
something that happens to my nervous system that I'm just like, "Oh, this is how you can just feel like fine and not on
yeah,
guard all the time," which is why I say actually that it's I mean, because you're in Florida, it's a, like you live in Florida, it's a little different. But that's why I always say to people, if you are a woman or a femme person, like stay on property because when you stay off property, I just feel immediately like I'm back in just being alert mode, right?
yeah.
So I wonder if you could talk about your experiences as a trans woman, if whether or not you feel that sense of safety as well, and yeah, like whether or not when I say that it's safe for women and femme people, it is as safe for trans women as I'm assuming it is.
I would say 100% it is. It
Okay,
is
that's good to know.
probably one of the places I feel the safest. It is one of the first places that I started presenting as myself and being more open about myself. And like I can remember the first like when I finally came out to close friends and family, went on a Disney trip in December of 2019, and I had the no longer existent Bon Voyage breakfast at the boardwalk with Ariel, Eric, Punzel, and Flynn Rider. And like I'm 2 months, 2.5 months into chemo. I do not look the best that I could ever look. I am still very severely overweight at that point. I like everything is not great, let alone the fact that, I'm barely relearning how to do makeup. Let's not lie. I was relearning how to do makeup. I have done makeup a lot in my life, but we are relearning makeup at that point. But I'm
Makeup
at
for
that
everyone
practice.
to see.
And both Ariel and Rapunzel, both of the face characters did this. They both sat down with me on the bench that I was seated at, referred to me as princess the whole conversation. Like they were just the most sweetest, loving people. And I actually made a reel about it this year on International Day of Visibility because I was back on the boardwalk and I recorded it right there outside of the restaurant. Like, we don't have this right now, this breakfast, but this was the first place. And this was the first place where I felt seen as myself. I felt comfortable. And from there, it just helped propel me. It helped propel me forward as far as feeling good and comfortable and confident in myself. Did I always look my best? No. I mean, again, I was going through chemo. I definitely didn't always look my best, but it just felt so good to finally be acknowledged as me, the way I've always wanted to be acknowledged. And every place I've been on Disney property, every cast member has been phenomenal. Whether it's a photographer, whether it's a character, whether it's any cast member, it's just they've always been so good. And I feel so safe. I mean, I walk so many times from Magic Kingdom all the way around to the TTC at night after the park closes because I don't want to wait for the monorail. I don't want to wait for the ferry. I will just walk to the TTC. And you're out there and just like, yeah, just walking around, feeling like out in the open. It's not like you're in the park where you're surrounded by thousands and thousands of people. You're walking on a path around Bay Lake, and
I
there might
know.
be
I have
20
walked on
people
that
out there with
past.
you.
I'm not that far, but I've walked on that path at night, and there have been men behind me, and I'm just like, oh, but like, it's great to like feel like I'm not going to get attacked.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wonderful. And then the Polynesian, I was walking from the Grand Floridian to the Polynesian when they were doing all the construction, so we had to walk along the street. And
yeah.
like all the the construction guys that were at the front just like where the gates are, they would like get up when I was passing and like would just acknowledge me, and like it was just like this sense of just like safety and respect, and
Yeah.
it's really it's really refreshing. I was wondering if you had any tips for other trans women who are going through their own gender confirmation or thinking about it or wondering whether or not Disney is like a place that they can go as they are confirming their gender in a more public way.
Disney is definitely a place to go because, like I said, the cast is very inclusive, and it's one of the keys. It's one of the Disney keys is inclusivity, and they live it. They fully live it and embrace it. And, even in some of the political climate that we might be living in today, Disney is a bubble. I don't care what's going on the outside world. You very, very rarely see much of that outside world creep in to
Mm-hmm.
the Disney bubble. I've been there a lot through the COVID years, through everything else that's happened. I've only seen a couple of those red hats. I won't say the name on them, but I've only seen a couple of those red hats ever inside the parks. And the average person is so consumed with what's going on in their day and taking care of what they need to take care of for themselves that you're not getting bothered or harassed or whatever, where you might not feel that way out in public other places. I mean, because I was going there from the very beginning of my transition through to today, and I've had a few people make a couple snide remarks here or there that I maybe heard in the background. You can't avoid all of it no matter where you are, but most of those, funny enough, are in the parking lot. Like, and it was what was funny to me on the day that I heard the biggest comment was the Mickey's Not So Scary 2019 on chemo, just becoming barely comfortable with myself. And this person made some kind of comment about look at that freak or whatever, right? Whatever. And like I was wearing a pair of cut off denim shorts and a Maleficent t-shirt that had like some lacing up the front of it and some light makeup and my Maleficent horn ears. I'm like, I am barely scratching the surface of anything
You're
right
like,
now.
oh, do you want to
And
see like full? Because we can do
oh,
full.
I'm just going, just wait for a couple hours because if you're here when we start getting the Mickey's Not So Scary full-blown party people coming in, you're gonna have some real issues, my friend.
Yeah.
Like that's all I'm thinking in my head. Like I did not in the moment, because I'm not traditionally a confrontational person, stop, turn around, and just be like, do you understand I'm a cancer patient? I'm this, and like just list them all
Yeah.
off. No. I was like, I just kept on walking, kept going with everything. But all I kept thinking was, if you have this issue with this tiny little bit of where I am in expressing myself today, what happens when we get to the party and we have everything else under the sun here at the party? Because Halloween parties at Disney, you will have people cross-dressing across the board. You will have all kinds of everything else. And sometimes I do question on some of the other outfits that are there. I'm going, that might be a little risque that I'm surprised you got inside the park with that during the party. But because it's the Mad Hatter with a really tiny skirt, you got away with it, I guess. But hey, more power to you. I'm not going to criticize anybody on what they want to wear because I've definitely worn things that in hindsight, I look at the photos and I'm like, what was I thinking wearing that? But in the moment, I felt good. You know, in hindsight, I don't feel so good about it, but in the moment, I felt good. And I'm never going to let anybody dull that moment of joy for me. I had people try to dull my joy from Disney in the past and, you know, do all the traditional Disney adult questions. Why do you go to Disney so much? Don't you get tired of it? Blah, 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 blah. No. Do you get tired of rooting for the same sports team every year that keeps losing? Do you get tired of going to that arena and painting your face? We're doing the same thing and potentially spending the same amount of money. Yours is just quote unquote more socially acceptable than what I do.
Yeah, and I mean, I talk about this all the time on the podcast, and everyone with their solo stories, say really similar things. Like it's a place of fun and joy and magic, but also a place of healing in for
Yes.
different reasons and different ways. And the Disney bubble and the fact that it is safe and the fact that there's so much that you can choose from, like it's just a really special place. And I think it takes some really special people, thanks listeners, to know that about themselves, that this is the place that they want to spend time by
Mhm.
themselves, because it is such a testament to knowing yourself and the magic that you need to be your full self, which includes part of your healing journey, which
Yeah.
includes eating good food, which includes dressing up, which includes having fun, like all of that stuff. um so I'm so glad that we could talk about that today. One final question, which is everyone's least favorite question. What's your favorite park? And what is one thing, not necessarily at that park though, what is one thing that you recommend a solo traveler like do or eat, ride or whatever, if they are going when they're going to Disney by themselves?
Favorite park is easy. It's Magic Kingdom. It's been Magic Kingdom since the first visit. It will be Magic Kingdom forever. I still love seeing that castle. Love watching fireworks explode. And when I can watch Tinkerbell fly across the sky,
Nothing's
during
better.
Happily Ever After. It's magic and it brings tears to my eye every single time. Still, I have watched that show God knows how many times at this point, at least 50, if not more than that. And I still get teary-eyed every single time I watch it. If there's something that you need to do, I don't care if you're a solo traveler, if you're a family traveler or whatever, but definitely as a solo traveler, I encourage you once at least, splurge and and stay at a deluxe resort. Do it. Do it at least once. You'd be surprised at just the difference in not only the level of the room, because it is different, but also the level of hospitality that you can get at them is different. Like the concierge, I mean, concierges are great at all the resorts, but those deluxe resorts, there's just something a little extra that can happen sometimes when you're staying there. They definitely are, they seem at least to me to be more willing to do stuff or to help you. But I also, a lot of times with the deluxe resorts, you almost got to go out of your way to go see the concierge desk or the front desk or whatever because of just the way they're organized. A lot of them, not all. Like Animal Kingdom Lodge, you're always going to go basically through the lobby, but a lot of the other ones you're not, and they love just to sit there and have even a conversation with you at times. They Disney cast members are so great. That would be my other thing to tell you to do is have a conversation with a cast member. Like, don't distract them necessarily from their work, but if you have some downtime, I have had photo pass photographers where I'm the only person and nobody is walking up. And we will take our set of photos and then have a talk. And after I have a talk, they're like, do you want to take some more photos? I'd like to walk over here with you. And you never know how they might sprinkle a little bit of magic on you because you've taken the time to show them that you respect them as a person, as a cast member, as somebody who's doing their job, who's there to help make magic for you. And it's led to so many opportunities of me having special one-on-one interactions with characters, photo shots, photo shoots in areas of the park that's like, no, there's never a photo pass photographer here, but they're like, just walk with me for a while. And next thing I know, they walked 5 minutes out of their way to take me to this little nook because they wanted to get photos because of the outfit and me. I had a conversation with them and I took the time to just have polite conversation. And the final thing I'd say, and I don't have it with me, and I wish I did, I don't have one with me. I like to take thank you cards to the
Thank
park.
you cards.
Yes, so I have thank you cards, and then I will hand write out thank you notes to cast members and give them to them. Yeah, it's nice to give them monetary tips, and it's nice to give them other trinkets, but I have found giving those cards has meant more to so many cast members than anything else because it's a true sign of appreciation saying thank you for the work you do. And I'm writing in there, thank you for taking the time to XYZ or whatever that might be. And they're always so grateful to have been recognized on that level.
I love that. I love that. And I want to remind listeners too that in the app there is a place that you can do cast compliments. Those aren't
Mhm.
as personal by any means, but if you have things like the cast member's name and where they're from, they can make sure they match it up. And that type of thank you as well can go in their personnel file, which can help with movement and promotions and things like that. The other thing I want to say about like talking to cast members is like, don't, and this is for listeners, like don't be nervous about letting them know that you're solo. Sometimes that actually helps. But I mean, I was staying at a hotel once and I was talking to a lifeguard and he was like, are you here by yourself? And I think like any other hotel, if I'm swimming in a pool and some lifeguard asks me if I'm there by myself, I would not be like, yeah, I am, my room's right up
Yeah,
there.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
at
I'd be like,
Disney, it was like, oh, okay, great. Well, then we can keep talking because you're not like waiting for other people.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to say is like, thank you so much for the segue into the deluxe resorts because number one, I'm doing a series all through July and August, but all the different deluxe resorts. And Mickey's going to come on again. So I'll be talking about the resorts, but then I'll be doing these mini solo stories at the end of each one of those episodes. And Mickey's going to come on again and talk about one of them. So you'll get to hear from her in a couple months as well. I do just want to say a little addendum to your advice about staying at deluxe resorts. The other thing is like, if you can't afford it, that's okay. Being at the All Stars means you're still at Disney. So don't feel like
100%.
if you can't afford a deluxe resort as a solo, that should stop you from going. I want to put that as an addendum.
100%. I have stayed at all three levels. I have stayed at every value resort we have at Disney. I've stayed at over half the moderates. I've stayed at four of the deluxe resorts. I love them all for different purposes, different reasons, for different styles of trips. They have different functions that I need them for sure. But no, all Disney resorts are great in different ways for different things.
For
So yeah,
sure.
no, never
I
do
know
that.
that there can be some groups that can be really like Facebook groups and stuff that can be really judgy about any resorts that aren't deluxe resorts and like that's not what we do here and I know
No.
that's not where you were coming from
Oh
but
God,
in
no.
case that's in people's like mind already like oh I guess I just want to like you said treat yourself if you can but not
Yeah.
necessarily exclusively.
And a great way to do it is a split stay. A great
Yes.
way to do it is a split stay. So let's say you've got a 6 day vacation coming up or a 6 night vacation. Do the first 5 nights at All Star and then do that last one at one of the deluxe resorts that you've been really wanting to do, whether that's the Floridian, that's the Polynesian, that's the Contemporary, because you want to be on the monorail line, or maybe you want to be behind Epcot and you want to be at the boardwalk or the beach club. And then do that for that one for that last night where you're like, all right, I'm already winding down anyways, so maybe I'm not going to go as hard at the parks. So you're going to spend more time at the resort, and now you can experience the resort, see what it's like a little bit, and go, okay, hey, this is definitely something. Because that's a way I started trying out certain things. Was I used to stay always at the value resorts, and I started doing moderate resorts by like tagging on 2 days at the end. Like, okay, I'm going to jump hotels. I kind of like this. This is kind of nice. It's a different layout. We've got a better pool, got a little bit of this, a little different that. And then you start figuring out, okay. You start figuring out which ones you like the most because there are definitely
100%. Yeah, sometimes
there
people say to me like which one is the best going solo and the fact is like there is no answer.
there's no
So
answer.
I always tell people to choose based on price and vibes. Right?
Yes.
Vibes are a huge thing. And I think a split stay is a great idea. And for 2025, because you can go to a Disney water park for free the day that you check in. If you do a split stay, you get 2 days at the water park.
Yeah,
And that second day is even better because you can go first thing in the morning. So there you go.
that's very true.
Yeah. This was so fantastic. Thank you so much. I can't wait to talk with you again about one of the deluxe resorts. We'll keep that quiet until we announce when you're coming on. But this was just so wonderful. Thank you. How can people follow you and get in touch with you and all that stuff?
I am on all the major socials, so TikTok, Instagram. I even am on YouTube, but not as much. And it's all the exact same tag. I am my life in mini ears with underscores in between each word. So it's
Okay,
my
great.
underscore life in mini ears. So easy to find. You can also just search Mikki. You should find me pretty quickly. It's hard to miss
Well,
my
you can
photo if
also
you're
just
watching.
like look in the description of this particular episode, and that's where all your socials will be.
Very true.
Yes. Thank you so much. I can't wait to talk with you about deluxe resorts later on.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Hey Solos, it's Samantha. I hope you enjoyed this episode as well as all the episodes of Disney Solo Magic, the #1 podcast for solo travel to Disney World. If you loved this solo story as much as I did, you probably will love watching it even more. The Disney Solo Magic Patreon has been reorganized to make it even easier for you to access this type of content. The Patreon has unedited videos of all the solo stories, as well as reflections on each episode, including the solo stories, an opportunity for you to vote on future episodes, and a monthly release schedule, which is always subject to change, but it's always kind of interesting to see what's planned. What's great about the solo story videos, and the reason why I really wanted to do the Patreon, is because we have so much fun having these conversations. And when you're listening to them, you don't totally get all of the looks, the gestures, the outfits, the laughing, the bloopers, the nose blowing, and all of that stuff that just make it like two friends having a great conversation. And we want you to be part of those conversations. So join Patreon now. It is $5 Canadian, which is about $4 American, $1 a week, or just over $1 a week. And that way you get access to these videos and can join the conversation and have even more fun. Plus, there is a free trial. And for those of you who signed up for the free trial in the different organization that I had for Patreon, guess what? You get to sign up for another free trial and get another week. I hope this organization of Patreon works really well for you to be able to see how fun it is to have these solo stories. And I can't wait to have more. I am booking solo stories up until September and October, so you don't want to miss access to how fun it is to have these conversations. And if there is enough of us, maybe we can have a big solo story meetup one day this summer. So please join me on Patreon. Although, if you're unable to join the Patreon right now, you can also support the podcast by subscribing, rating, reviewing, commenting, and sharing the Disney Solo Magic podcast to all of your friends and family across all of the platforms that we are connected with. The links to all of this is below, and I can't wait for another wonderful season of content. Bye!